Hello everybody, it's Sarah Banks from Banks' Business Solutions here, and today I'm going to use this short video to give you a walkthrough on how to get started with Mailchimp automation. So let's pop over into Mailchimp and get started. So here we are in Mailchimp. I'm logged into my account, and from the menu at the top I've clicked on automation. So, as you can see, there are lots and lots of different options down here for automation. We're currently looking at e-commerce. So if you have an e-commerce site, you can link your automation to your e-commerce settings, which are coming straight through into Mailchimp. There's lots and lots of other options. What we're going to look at today is just very, very simple, basic automation that we customize ourselves. So we're going to click on Custom over here. It says Custom Event Workflow, so we're going to click Add Automation, and we need to give this a name. So I'm going to call this my Test Automation. You then need to select a list from the list that you have created in automation that will receive this automation. So I'm going to use my test list and click on Next. So here we are in the automation setup section. This is the type of workflow that we're using, which was a custom one, and this is the list that we're using here, and obviously the name of our automation is up here. So now to get adding things. So a trigger, this is the activity that has to take place in order for the email that you put into this section here to be sent. So the first thing we're going to do is edit the trigger. There are lots of different options that you can choose for triggering an email, as you'll see here. So there are options that relate to previous emails, e-commerce options, activity again relating to previous emails, list management, and any integrations that you may have. For this one, we're going to look at a trigger related to when a person signs up to join your list. So we're going to select the sign up option. And then we have to decide how many days after sign up the first email that we're going to send is going to be sent. So I'm going to choose 2 days here. You do have the option of choosing hours, immediately, and weeks as well. And this final setting is to trigger when subscribers are imported. Sometimes you may have a list that you add subscribers to yourself. If you don't put a tick in this box, those subscribers won't gain access to this workflow. Click on Update Trigger, and you'll see that your trigger now says 2 days after subscribers join or are imported to your list. And now we can look at the first email. The first thing to look at is scheduling when this email will go out. Mailchimp gives you the option of sending it on specific days of the week if you choose to do so, or every day. So you can just go through and click whichever days you want. You can then decide when you want emails to be sent. Now, some people like the emails to look as if they have been sent manually, so you don't want to be sending things in the middle of the night. So I would suggest doing an only send between and selecting the hours that are more working hours for your business. So 8 AM through to 4 PM, for example. You then click Save Schedule, and these emails will only get sent between those times. We can create a segment of our list here as well. So if we only want certain subscribers to receive the email, we can do that here and choose segmentation conditions in a very similar way to the way that we would select segmentation were we creating a campaign to go out. I'm not going to do that for the purposes of this video, but just wanted to show you that it's possible. And the final thing is action-based email sending. Now, further into the workflow, you may want to say that you're only going to send the next email should somebody have opened the previous one, and that's where the actions come in. But again, for the first email, we're going to purely stick with sending it out to everybody. So we're now going to design the first email in this workflow. Just like when you create a campaign, Mailchimp's going to ask you to name your email. So I'm going to just call this my custom workflow 1. We're going to say email 1 as the subject. And as you'll see, your from name and email address automatically come into this. Click on next and you can select the template for your email. Now, what I would advise you to do is to create templates for these emails and save them in your saved templates. Now, I'm just going to pick up my master template here because we're not worrying too much about the content that goes in. So click on the template you want to use and Mailchimp opens up the email editor as normal. As you usually would, you can update every section of the email, and I am assuming that you know how to do this, as you've been sending out campaigns and using Mailchimp in the past. So go through, design your email. When you're happy with it, obviously preview it as usual, and once it's finalised, click on Save and Continue. Your email has now been added and you'll see a preview of it over here. Don't worry about how this preview looks, because what I found when working with the automation is that the preview never looks like the actual email, but the emails themselves are fine. So you're now ready to add your next email in your workflow. Again, the first thing to do is to look at your trigger. Mailchimp has defaulted this to be 1 day after subscribers are sent the previous email. So we can go in and edit this. And we can change the trigger completely, but what I would say when doing your first workflow is to keep things simple. Scheduling your workflow to the previous email is probably the most simplest way of doing things. So I'm going to put in 5 days after the previous email here and update my trigger. Again, the schedule is in there. We can segment the list and we can also look at the actions. Let's have a quick look at actions now. So this is an action that's performed on a subscriber after the email is sent. So we can update information, delete or unsubscribe from a list at this point. There's obviously other options that we can use that aren't relevant for this particular email at this time. Using the unsubscribe from a list option is really useful if you've got people that aren't opening your emails and you want to say, actually, look, this is the final email I'm going to send you and I'm going to automatically unsubscribe you. And it saves you manually having to go through and do that. I'm going to cancel out of this because we're not going to see actions on this email. And we're going to go in a similar way to design our email again. And again, you will select the template that you want to use. I'm just going to keep picking up the same template for the purposes of this because we don't need to make any changes. Edit the email, again, as you usually would. Save and continue. And your second email has now been added here. You can continue to add emails. I've not found a maximum yet. I've gone up to 10. There may be a limit in there, but up to 10 has definitely not given me any issues at all. So once you're happy, you've got your emails in, your triggers are all set, you then click on Next. And you can have a look at what any issues that Mailchimp has at this point. Now it's telling me that there are some issues here and I'm not. Okay, it doesn't like it because I've got placeholder text in the emails that I'm trying to add to this workflow. So let me just quickly take that out. And we'll do the same in this one. I think it is quite good that Mailchimp alerts you should you have any placeholder text in there so that you do know to go back and check your emails are correct. So I'm going to click Next again now I've saved those emails. Okay, there is still an issue coming up on this email. Okay, it's saying that again we still have some placeholder text, which I thought we'd taken it all out, but let's just pop back in and take that. I think it's that one that may be the issue in here. Let's hope that it works this time. Yes, so here we go. Our email's got ticks by them. Our tracking's on. This is the list that we're sending it through. And then we click on Start Workflow. You're about to start this workflow, which contains 2 emails to the campaign test list. So just check that that is the correct number of emails on the correct list and hit Start Workflow. Your workflow has now been started. So if I now go to automation, you can see that I have this automation already set up. And Mailchimp will give you the number of emails that it's sent and click and open rates as it starts to run that automation. I really hope that you found that brief overview of the Mailchimp automation useful, but please do ask me any questions that you may. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video that I produce.